Hey guys, it's Bart Johnson here. Now, the company Aputure is a company that's doing very well lately, in my opinion. They've been coming out with great products, particularly lights. I'm actually using all their lights in my home office slash studio here. And they came out with microphones, and another big thing that they're doing is monitors. And so they're really hitting a sweet spot of professional quality at reasonable and affordable prices. And the product that I want to talk to you about today is another one that fits right into that category. 2 years ago, I went to my first NAB show in 2015, and while I was there, I conducted an interview at the Aputure booth with Ted from the A-Team, and one of the things that he showed me was this monitor that they were working on. It was a prototype, and it was called the Aputure VS5. Well, here we are now. It's just about 2 years later, and last year in 2016, they did finally release the VS5 monitor because there are a lot of people who had interest in it. And the guys over at Aputure were nice enough to send me one of these monitors to review and to check out, and I have it right here. Here it is, the Aputure VS5 monitor. So before we start talking about the monitor, I do want to put the disclaimer out there that this was sent to me for free at no charge so that I can do a review of it, and I do get to keep it. But that being said, I am not being paid for this review, and I'm by no means obligated to say only nice things about the monitor. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion of what I think of it. So with that out of the way, let's dive into some of the specifics. It is a 7-inch monitor, perfect for field use, and it has a 1920 by 1200 display. So that means it is full and true HD and even a little bit beyond. So that means you're going to get really great quality on this screen. Also, the screen has a 160-degree viewing angle, which means you can get, up to 160 degrees off axis from it, and you'll still be able to see your image. So that's a nice thing. You can glance over no matter where the monitor is and see your image. It also, one of the biggest things that this version does that some of their other monitors don't do is it takes both HDMI and SDI. And for a lot of pro users, SDI is a big feature and it's awesome to have. But if you're on the lower end or you work with HDMI more, of course, you've got HDMI in this as well. So in typical Aputure fashion, the VS5 comes in a kit that has a lot of accessories already included so you can get shooting and using it right away. So the first thing it comes with is a really nice soft padded carrying case that's padded on the inside to protect your monitor while you travel with it. It also comes with both micro and mini HDMI cables, both terminating in full-size HDMI for the monitor. And it also comes with a D-Tap power cable. This is a really nice thing. It means I can run this off of my D-Tap batteries. It also includes a cold shoe small ball head, so you can mount it right away, a sun hood bracket, and of course a giant, fantastic sun hood for when you're outside and you really can't see with the glare off the monitor. And last but not least, it comes with a little microfiber cleaning cloth. Now, the one thing that Aputure doesn't include with this monitor that they have included on some previous monitors is a battery. So you are going to have to go ahead and purchase a battery separately, or maybe you've got some lying around, or you can go ahead and run it off of D-Tap. So you have options, but for whatever reason, they decided not to include a battery in this particular kit. Just something to keep in mind. So now let's talk about the body and the construction of this monitor. It is a plastic body, but it does appear to be a pretty rigid and durable plastic. I'm not sure how resilient it is, but I haven't dropped it yet, so hopefully I'll never have to find out. But it is a plastic body, so keep that in mind. It does have two 1/4-20 mounting points, one on the bottom and one on the side, so you have versatility of mounting options there. And if you go around over to the one side, you have an on and off switch, which is a nice sliding switch, so you're never going to accidentally shut it off when you may need it. And then you also have a row of function buttons and menu controls. And we'll get into how those work in a little bit and some of the functions that are in this monitor. Then if we go all the way around to the back, you can see our batteries here. They are the typical Sony NP style batteries, and there are 2 slots here, and they are hot swappable, meaning that if one battery is getting low, you can swap it out and have continuous power running off of the second battery. They have a nice little button release to let them in and out, and they sit in there pretty snugly and firmly. Again, you also do have that DC power option with this, so there is the DC 7 to 18 volt jack there. That 18 volt top is what allows you to plug directly into like a 14.8 volt D-tap battery and run this monitor off of that. So you have some versatility there. Coming over to the other side, you do have a headphone output, so you have a headphone jack so you can monitor sound through this if you'd like, and a USB connection, and this is actually used for updating firmware. Another thing that comes with the monitor is they actually give you a little Aputure USB stick, so whenever there's firmware updates, you can go ahead and pop it on there, you plug it right into the back of the monitor and update your firmware, and it's easy as that. So nice of them to include that little thumbstick in there. Then we get down to the bottom, and here's where we have our actual input connections. We have the HDMI and the SDI in. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that it only has inputs. It does not have outputs. So this kind of surprised me because when I had talked with Ted at NAB 2 years ago, they were showing that it would have both inputs and outputs, HDMI and SDI, and the possibility of cross conversion within the monitor. So for whatever reason, they didn't end up putting that in this particular monitor. It's kind of a bummer to me. I really wish that I could have an output, meaning I could use this in a chain of devices and still send a signal out to something else. But as it stands right now, this is going to be the last device in any of your chains because there is no output. So a little bit of a shame, but still a great option having SDI and HDMI both. But obviously there's a lot more to professional monitors than just a pretty screen. Obviously there's a lot of pro-level software and monitoring tools that make monitors useful on set. And I'm happy to say that this monitor has pretty much everything you could ever want in the way of that. There are so many tools and so many settings and so much customization that you can do. I don't have time to go through everything that's in this menu system, but if you're looking for it, it's probably in there. Some of the highlights are they have vector scopes, they have waveforms, they have RGB parades. You can even have all of those on the screen while still looking at your image. There's audio meters, which is a huge thing, so you can monitor your audio if you're outputting it to it. There's false color, which is one of my personal favorite exposure tools, and it's awesome to have this in this monitor. Of course, you got focus peaking and zebras and all sorts of other things there, and levels of customization and color calibration. It's all in there, and that's what really makes this a pro level monitor. Now obviously with that much stuff in the menu system, you don't necessarily want to go digging through it every time you want to pull up one of your scopes. Well, remember I mentioned there are those 3 custom function buttons on the side of the monitor. You can program those to use any of the tools that it has, so that just at a single press you can pull up your favorite tool, get what you need out of it, press it again, and shut it off. Really, really great, and means you can really tailor your monitor so that you can work quickly with it using just the tools that you mainly use. So currently coming in at about $500 US, the Aputure VS5 monitor really is a great value for everything that you get. Not only is it a beautiful 1920 by 1200 screen that's amazingly sharp and color accurate, but it has all of those professional tools and monitoring tools built into it. It's very easy to use. And it even has professional power solutions and options and all sorts of stuff. So I think for $500 you really are getting a lot, considering that comparable 7-inch monitors from other companies are, I think you'd be hard pressed to find something under around $1,000. So this is a lot in a very small, very affordable package in the grand scheme of things. Now, of course, I am a little bummed out that it doesn't have any outputs and it doesn't do cross conversion or anything like that. So I wish I could have seen that, but you know, you can't get everything every time. Maybe there's a VS6 or VS7 coming in the future where I'll get that functionality. But for the time being, I'm okay with it just being input only. And you know, overall, I really like this monitor. I've had it for several months. I've been slacking on this review, but I've been using it. And using it with my Ursa Mini, using it with an FS7, using it with some really high-end cameras, and it's just great. So I approve this monitor. I'm really happy to have it as part of my kit, and I think anybody else would be happy to have it as part of their kit as well. So please guys, feel free to go and check this thing out and see if it's right for you, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you will be notified every time I have a new product review coming out. I've got a lot of stuff coming. I've been so backlogged and lazy. But thanks again, guys. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.